Alaska Online. Conversations with Red Boucher about the issues and challenges that shape Alaska's future. Today, Red's guest is President of InfoTech Alaska, Scott Dennis. And now, let's join Red.
Welcome to Alaska Online. We're going to be talking about the information age, IT technology, and the opportunities for young people in Alaska. My guest today is a longtime friend. In fact, when I was mayor of Fairbanks in 1967 and a 100-year flood made a bathtub out of our community, we were supposed to have the Babe Ruth World Series there. And obviously it was flooded out and moved to Anchorage. And to get the program off its feet, I brought his dad, Don Dennis, who I'd met many years ago back in Grand Junction, Colorado. And since then, Scott Dennis's dad, Don, has kept the Gold Panthers going into the greatest amateur baseball program in the world. Scott, it's wonderful to have you here. I remember when you were this tall, but you've been doing some fantastic things in the information age, and your education comes out of Alaska. Let's just talk a bit about your background, and you're also the president of InfoTech Alaska.
Thank you for having me, Red. Probably the most important thing about my life is people just like yourself who have bothered to invest their time into teaching me various things. Over the years, there have been many wonderful people that have taught me various things from computers to radio engineering to that sort of thing. Obviously, I grew up in Fairbanks, pretty much around the ballpark. Yes. Spent a lot of time there. Back in 1970, though, my mother actually helped me get started in amateur radio. So I've been a ham radio operator now for 31 years and got hands-on electronics from a very early age. Got very interested in technology. Later, when computers came along, it just seems like an extension of hardware. It's a way of not having to change the wires to make it do different things.
Right.
And it's a very interesting approach to electronics, and I found it very fascinating. I, over the years, had the opportunity to work with many very interesting people. I worked at the Geophysical Institute in Fairbanks. Mm-hmm. I've had a chance to work with Ed Parsons in Fairbanks also, the man that actually invented cable television. He was an owner of a radio station, and he trained me in the radio engineering. And as you probably remember, back in '83, I then got licensed for broadcast engineering, and I've been a broadcast engineer now for 18 years. So with that, I went to the university in Fairbanks, and I got a computer science degree. They've got a wonderful department up there, and I believe here in Anchorage also, although I haven't directly experienced it. Mm-hmm. But in Fairbanks, they have wonderful teachers up there. Ron Gotterdam, Joe Dart, Dana Thomas, the list goes on. There's a group of very talented teachers up there. And their degree program is very good. And along with that, the university system offers opportunities for students to work at the university. And so through that, I got hands-on experience. So it wasn't just academic classroom time. There was a lot of very practical experience in helping other students learn computers. For instance, I was supervisor of their microcomputer lab when it first started, mm-hmm. and I had a chance to have hands-on with almost every student that went through their program for a couple of years. And that was very instructive. So I've taken that experience, and we've now created a company. My wife and I have created a company called InfoTech Alaska. Mm-hmm. And InfoTech Alaska does computer consulting. We'll do anything from network reviews. You know, we'll go in and actually look at every piece and part of a system and see if there's any improvements that can be made, or pat people on the back where they deserve it. Okay. But we also help in business planning services, disaster recovery planning, and things of that nature.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break here and come back and talk more about InfoTech Alaska and the services it provides, and even more important, how people can contact you. Red Boucher, don't go away. We'll be back with you in just a few minutes.
Always reaching higher. Danielle Shower, Customer Service Lead, ACS.
Time to move on? Then get moving. It's about experience. Get it. It's about contribution. Make it. It's about satisfaction. Find it. Air Force Reserve, above and beyond.
1-800-257-1212. Neighbor to neighbor, friend to friend, providing Alaska one-to-one communications since 1968. The Tel-Alaska family of companies.
I'm Joan Chen with a message for people of all nationalities who come to America for what it has to offer, including protection from discrimination when you want to rent or buy a home. It is against the law for anyone to deny you housing because of your national origin, the color of your skin, or the size of your family. Know your rights and use them. If you've been treated unfairly when it comes to housing, contact HUD for help. HUD is on your side.
Scott, we were talking about InfoTech Alaska, your business that you and your wife Tiffany run, and education opportunities for young people in Alaska that want to follow an IT career. And bear in mind, we're talking to lots of kids out in small villages that are really curious, interested in exploring the world of IT.
That's great. Well, one of the most interesting projects InfoTech Alaska has undertaken recently, as you well know, is putting Alaska Online TV on the internet. And that has turned out to be a very interesting project. There's a lot of challenges involved in taking video and putting it on the internet in digital form. We've discovered that we've heard lots of talk about the so-called digital divide, about some people that have connections and access and some people that don't. And as we've discovered, there is a second digital divide. There's people that have low-speed access, and there's people that have broadband high-speed access. And that has very definite ramifications for video. To do adequate video on the internet, you need high-speed access. And yet we have managed, through the use of the real audio format, real video, to make it so it's usable for the low-speed connections. And I know that's very important for the people out in the villages and all around the state that are trying to tune into this program. That's been a very interesting experience, just learning that there's such a vast difference between high and low speed connections to the internet.
What is bandwidth? What is high speed? In other words, we talk about 56K modems, etc. You know, what is the proper bandwidth?
Proper bandwidth, that's an interesting question. It really depends on what you're trying to do with it.
Well, let's say, for example, somebody at a computer out there in Bethel is trying to get to our television show. How much bandwidth should be available out in rural Alaska?
Right. We've actually, my understanding is that most villages have at least a 256K connection. Now, K is
256K, but that's divided amongst all the people in the village.
Precisely, precisely. Yeah. Most internet usage is what they call bursty, where you will put in a request and it will really quickly download a page for you, but then you'll sit there and read the page, and it really isn't